Here with Thomas Bryant on Locked On Heat. Big question, or the big story today is Jimmy Butler's hair. Now, you weren't a part of the hoopla last year when he had the braids, but you got to be a part of it this year. Your thoughts?
Hey, do your thing, Jimmy. Express yourself, man.
Is it tough being, you played with the Denver Nuggets and now you're here with the Miami Heat, both teams that were in the NBA Finals. Is that a weird transition, or are you just looking for another opportunity to continue your career?
It's both. Weird transition, but it's also a great opportunity for the next step in my career. I feel like the Heat culture and what I have for myself, what I pride myself on, fits well with each other. One thing about me is that I always try to bring that grit, the grind, running the floor as much as I can out there, just trying to be a deer out there. And I feel like I plays along with how the Heat love to run, love to orchestrate an offense, to run and go, and a big man that can fit the gel of just scoring inside and outside as well.
Well, did you have other offers that you were kind of weighing this summer, or was it just Miami that one that really stood out to you?
Well, yeah, there was of course there was many options, but Miami was the one that stood out to me of just because of what they wanted, the necessity of what they needed, and them being very locked in with me since the start of free agency, since the start of the summer and everything.
It means a lot, right?
It meant a lot to me, so I really did cherish that.
I'm curious, when you're studying a team in the NBA Finals, you're studying your opponent. What did you learn about the Miami Heat when you were playing for Denver and you're scouting them and you're doing all these things? And obviously, you're part of the Nuggets at that point. But then you think about maybe that after. And you're like, hey, maybe I could help them with these couple of things. Because I'm sure when you were studying the Heat in the Finals, you maybe noticed some weaknesses or some opportunities there that afterwards maybe you thought, I don't know, I'm guessing here that maybe you thought maybe you can help.
Well, yeah, there was little things. There was little key bits and pieces of things I'm not going to really reveal out there, but there was key things that I saw.
Generic, like you don't have to be like they don't box out on the weak.
I mean, I'm just like having my ability to score inside and out, and having a person that's going to be out there, communication out there on the offensive end, defensive end, a help shot blocker, and a person that could be versatile out there on the defensive end to keep a guard in front of them, and. I feel like I bring that to the table of just, especially with the offensive end of the three-point shooting, being able to space the floor out for the guys to create and, keep some offensive rebounds for us too, keep some possessions open for us. And I feel like I can help that a lot going into this year.
The help shot blocker thing that you mentioned is really interesting because this is not a team that blocks shots, right? In the last 2 or 3 years, I think they rank in the bottom 5 of the league.
Yeah, they de-emphasize it a lot.
They're a great rim protecting team. They don't block. They don't get the blocks as much. You obviously do that. For people watching on YouTube, they can see how large of a human that you are, and that's something that you could provide. But in terms of like the help side shot blocking, that's really interesting to me. So do you think that you can do you envision yourself like playing alongside another big potentially, maybe one's protecting the rim and maybe you're kind of playing like off of a non-shooter or something like that? Is that something that
I feel like there's a possibility of that. Of course there's always communications of talks about it, but we always have to play a hand. Whatever we can get away, whatever we can find ourselves to, pick away with the other team, we'll do it. And I feel like we'll put ourselves in any position to win, whether it's two bigs on the court or one big on the court. We're all about winning here. So at the end of the day, we all want to find a way to win.
Yeah. What was the pitch when they were like why do you think that they were reaching out to you so early in free agency?
I think the reason why they were reaching out to me because they knew a guy that would probably fit their system really well. Priding themselves on the key thing is they priding themselves on being a tip-top shape, condition, the grit, the grind. Always being one to always put the work in and even extra work as well. And a person that's always going to be there for the teammate. I feel like they needed a big. They felt like they needed a big, that was versatile out there, and I feel like my game translated really well with them, and having constant communication with the guys, talking with Coach Spo for a little bit at a time there, throughout the recruiting process and all. Felt good about it, so I felt really confident making this decision, being here, and then, going into the workouts, going against guys, and, building that camaraderie with guys I felt great about.
You had big games against Bam before. I'm sure you probably let him know about it a little bit, but you had a couple big games there, and I remember one game in particular, I think it was 2022, you outplayed Bam, and this was in the middle of his Defensive Player of the Year campaign and everything else like that, and I wonder how much that kind of stood out to the Heat during the whole recruiting process, as you mentioned.
Shoot, I wonder too.
You should ask.
Yeah, I should. I'll make that on my to-do list.
No, but I'm saying, I'm curious. Like, do you remember those kind of games that stand out to you? Like your career high was 31 points, right? What team was that against?
I believe that was the Phoenix Suns.
Okay, all right, okay. I'm just curious now because there was a game here I remember covering it specifically and telling him how you played bigger, like your presence was just bigger than your actual. I don't know how to explain it other than it was just your presence was everywhere. That between your shot blocking, your rebounding, and he just kind of outplayed Bam, and it's just in a way that just made it seem very pronounced how small the Heat roster was at that time. So your ability to bring size, I think, is something that a lot of fans are looking forward to seeing on the Heat roster.
Oh, absolutely. I feel like the size matters sometimes out there on the court, especially with a 5-man out there. Being a big body, that can alter shots, rebound, and also be able to shoot and run the floor. I feel like that's a great contribution right there. Because whenever you want to get on that fast break, they always say the bigs are slow. Right. Let's try to have a big that could be the first one down there or anything like that. Run with the guards, man.
What's your goal in training camp this week?
My goal in training camp this week is just to build a camaraderie with the guys and continue to show what I've been improving on day in and day out for the Heat culture. Just so that way they see that it translates everything I've been working on can help translate to wins.
Why is it do you feel like maybe you've had a hard time sticking with any one team so far in your career?
I don't feel like I had a hard time sticking with anyone. For me, I spent 4 years in Washington.
Right.
Spent multiple years in LA and then got traded to the Denver Nuggets. So I feel like that's just one team that was different, and then going into this new year with the Miami Heat, it's different as well. But it's all about opportunities. I feel like for myself, when the opportunity was there, I capitalized on it, and that's what I'll continue to do. Keep myself ready, no matter if it's coming off the bench or being a starter or anything like that. You have to be ready at all times. So that's why I prided myself on.
What's the hardest thing about staying in tip-top shape? You said being in tip-top shape, there's a lot that kind of goes into it for people that aren't NBA players. What's the hardest part about it?
The hardest part about it is getting into the shape.
Right.
Once you get into it,
Maintaining is easier.
Yeah, maintaining it is easier. You build a consistency level about it, of just like normal workouts that you do day in and day out. You keep the same rhythm, you keep the same system going on to it, and you just don't switch up from it.
What's the hardest practice you've ever been a part of at any level of basketball?
Hardest practice? I think my rookie year.
It could be back to high school or college, whichever one's harder. If there was an actual memory of a tough practice that kind of stood out to you. If it's the NBA one, that's fine. We live here in Storyville.
No, NBA no. 6 a.m. Mellon camp Monday morning. 6 a.m. conditioning in college.
Nothing like it.
Well, nothing like it. You got the mask on and everything. It was back in the day when you had to train with the mask. And you put the levels up at the highest level. And you had to go all the way around that football field and all the way back, man. Them gassers, oh, man. When we was out in the field in that sun, man, oh, that was torture.
Have you ever thrown up at a practice?
I've gone close. Yeah. I've gotten close, and I've never thrown up at a practice before, and I wasn't going to start there.
Whose players' highlights have you watched the most in your life?
Players' highlights that I watched the most, I had to say it'd be a mixture between Tim Duncan, Garnett, and Kobe.
Okay.
And I watched a lot of Melo post plays as well.
There you go.
Kobe's post plays, Garnett's defensive rebounding and defensive efforts. Postal LaMarcus Aldridge mid-range post moves.
Last thing we have for you, you have a teammate who eats Oreos with a fork. Can you guess the teammate?
Eats Oreos with a fork? Who does that?
One of your teammates.
Teammate. I mean, all every teammate here is a new teammate, but somebody who just joined the team this year.
It ain't me, so.
The other big addition.
The other big addition. We had a couple big additions, man.
Free agency. It was you and somebody else.
No.
Yeah.
It's not eating no Oreos with no fork. Man.
Josh Richardson. Yeah.
No, there's no way.
Absolutely.
There's no way he eats no Oreos with no fork.
Yeah.
Yes, sir, he does.
Everybody
He
like
swears
he's so
by it.
surprised. He told us.
He swears by it?
He says you don't get dirty.
He says that's the way to do it.
It's been mixed reviews from your teammates
Really?
right now. Yeah.
I'm about to ask him. We got a
I feel like
locker
the
right by
entire-
each other. I'm asking him.
The whole locker is about to get on him about it. We appreciate the time, Thomas.
Man, thank you.
We'll see you in
Appreciate
Boca.
Yeah, good luck to you this season.
Thank you.